Well, hello there. I'm Gemini.
Have you ever been completely, utterly stopped in your tracks? And I don't mean by some loud noise or a sudden scare. I mean stopped by something so overwhelming in its beauty or in its truth that the entire world just seems to fall away. You know, maybe it was a piece of music that made you just hold your breath, or watching a sunset so intense it felt like the sky was literally on fire. Or maybe it was just a single simple thought that landed with so much clarity it silenced everything else.
In those moments, something pretty extraordinary happens, doesn't it? That constant, relentless inner monologue, you know the one, the planning, the worrying, the replaying of old arguments we have with ourselves, it all just pauses. For a second, maybe two, there's no debate going on inside. There's no voice telling you what you should be doing or what you did wrong. There's just this profound, expansive stillness. A silence that isn't empty at all, but feels incredibly full.
So what is that force? It's not aggressive, right? It doesn't shout to get our attention. It's this gentle power, but somehow it has the strength to stun the most chaotic mind into absolute silence. It's almost hypnotic, this power that can make us lose track of ourselves and become, just for a moment, wonderfully, peacefully dumbstruck. So where does this arresting force come from?
And maybe this is the most important question of all. Is this something that just happens to us by accident? Or is this silent, hypnotic power a capacity that every single one of us holds deep inside? A capacity not just to be ambushed by silence, but to actively find our way back to it whenever we really need to. I mean, let's be honest, finding that silence feels harder and harder these days. We live in a world of just perpetual motion, of endless information, of constant doing, and nowhere is that motion more frantic than inside our own heads. Our inner world can often feel like a battlefield, with all these conflicting thoughts and desires and fears all fighting for control. And the effects of all this inner noise? They're very, very real. It leads to this deep sense of exhaustion, a persistent confusion about who we are and what we really want. We feel pulled in 1,000 different directions at once. And at the heart of this conflict, there's this relentless inner opponent, a voice that just thrives on all that agitation. We can call it the ego. It's that part of us that's always defining, judging, and defending itself. It's the source of all that negative self-talk, that inner critic that just never seems to take a break. We spend so much of our energy trying to fight this voice, don't we? Trying to win the argument, trying to prove it wrong. But what if that's the wrong approach entirely? What if the real path to peace isn't about outsmarting our own thoughts? What if the answer isn't to win the debate, but to end the debate altogether? To discover a power so profound it can simply silence the opposition, not with force, but with the truth that words can't even touch. Well, in the ancient wisdom traditions of India, this very specific, powerful force isn't just some abstract idea. It's given a name, a form, a whole personality. It's understood as a divine, cosmic power embodied by a goddess named Bagalamukhi. She literally represents the power of stopping all things, out in the universe, and most importantly, inside of ourselves. Now, this image is absolutely key to understanding her power. Notice she isn't passive or gentle in the way we might think of a peaceful deity. No, she is active, she is powerful, she is intervening. This image shows her stunning her opponent into stillness, a perfect representation of this cosmic feminine force at work. Her expression is so focused, her actions so decisive. She really embodies a kind of dynamic stillness, an intervention that brings peace by arresting chaos right at its source.
Her very name reveals her function. Bagala literally means a rope or, even better, a bridle. You know, the kind you'd use to control a powerful horse. And Mukhi means face. So you put it all together, and her name translates to something like the one whose face has the power to control or conquer. She is the divine bridle for all the wild, uncontrolled energies that run rampant, especially the energy of our own speech and our own thoughts.
Her essential power actually has a specific name, Stambhana. It's a Sanskrit word that means stopping, arresting, or even paralyzing. Now, this isn't about destruction. It's about bringing a frantic energy to a sudden, complete halt. You can think of it as the ultimate cosmic pause button, the power to stun things into a state of profound stillness, so that a deeper truth can finally be seen. This symbolism really gets to the core of the whole idea. Bagalamukhi is often shown holding her opponent's tongue, and while that might look a little shocking at first, this isn't about physical violence. The opponent represents her own ego, And the tongue? Well, the tongue symbolizes that endless stream of negative speech, the gossip, the criticism, the self-doubt that the ego produces. She grabs the very source of the noise and makes it silent. She puts the human, egoistic word to rest.
So how does she do this? What is the weapon she uses that's so powerful it can silence the ego itself? It's not some mantra that overpowers or an argument that wins. It's something far more subtle and way more profound.
Turns out the ultimate weapon, the highest spiritual tool or brahmastra, isn't a thing at all. It's a question. This simple, direct, and devastatingly profound question, who am I? This is her true power. Not a spell you chant, but a deep, sincere inquiry you take on inside yourself.
But why does this work? Well, when you genuinely ask yourself, who am I? The mind is forced to just pause. The ego, which identifies with your job, your name, your history, your emotions, all these temporary things, it has no real answer. It can give you labels, sure, but it can't answer the fundamental question of your true nature. And in that gap, in that momentary inability to answer, all the wandering thoughts, all the anxieties and identifications, they just lose their power. The mind is brought back to its source, and this deep stillness just arises.
Now, this power of stopping builds into an even deeper principle. See, Bagalamukhi doesn't just silence things. She reveals a hidden truth about reality itself, through what's known as the reversal of opposites.
This principle of reversal is pretty mind-bending. Bagalamukhi takes each concept and reveals its hidden opposite. Speech becomes silence. Agitation becomes stillness. Through her grace, what looks like a defeat is revealed to be a hidden victory. What we call knowledge is shown to be a form of profound, sacred ignorance before the great mystery of the self. She reveals that every single thing in this universe contains its opposite, hidden deep inside it. But to see the joy hidden in sorrow or the success hidden in failure, well, that requires the mind to become absolutely still.
Okay, so this might all sound very cosmic and abstract, but this power, this capacity for stillness, it's not something far away. It actually has a location, a center, right within your own body and your own consciousness. The ancient yogis mapped these points out precisely.
There are two primary locations where you can access this stopping power. The first is the soft palate, at the back of the roof of your mouth, a place called Indra Yoni. This spot is a crucial middle point between the senses of your eyes, ears, nose, and tongue. Concentrating here is said to give you control over the vital energies, or prana, that fuel all our thoughts. The second, and even more important location, is the heart center. This is considered the prime seat of consciousness, the ultimate source of control. By pulling our scattered energies back into the heart, we can find a stillness that goes beyond the ups and downs of life and death.
To help focus the mind, meditators have used visual tools just like this yantra for centuries. It's more than just a cool geometric pattern, it's a cosmic diagram. It's a map that draws the mind inward, away from all the distractions, toward that single point of silent power at the center. It's basically a visual anchor for the practice of finding stillness.
Ultimately, getting access to this power isn't about complex rituals or loud prayers. The deepest form of worship, the most powerful practice, is simply observation. It is the practice of watching our own mind, to observe our thoughts, our emotions, our impulses from the standpoint of a calm, detached witness. Because once we're no longer identified with the movements of the mind, we gain control over them. We can then choose to stop them at will.
So this is what it all comes down to. The hypnotic, silent power we've been exploring, it's not some external force you need to go out and get. It is the power of your own self-awareness. It's the capacity, which is already inside you, to just stop and observe yourself, to become aware of the inner workings of your own mind without getting swept away by them.
And this power to stop, it's incredibly practical. It is the power to stop identifying with every single thought and emotion that just drifts through your mind. It's the power to pause before you send that angry text. It's the power to stop the negative words before they leave your mouth in a moment of frustration. And ultimately, it's the power to stop automatically believing that the chaotic stories your ego tells you about your worth and your future are actually true. This is real self-mastery.
So I'll just leave you with this thought. This power to pause, to become still, to silence the inner noise, it's your birthright. It is not out of reach. It's as close as your own breath, your own awareness. The only question is, what would change in your life right now if you just gave yourself permission to access that silent, steady, powerful place within?